How's it going, guys? Cody back again, dropping yet another video. Right, guys. The story I'm about to read you is something extremely, extremely close to my heart. If you follow me for a long time, you'll know why. If you haven't, I'll give you a brief breakdown. So it's December the 11th, 2017. Michelle Pearson, who is a mother of 6, and her children are sleeping safe and sound in their family home in Jackson Street, Walkden, in the city of Salford. Michelle's eldest, who I won't name, who was 18, wasn't at the property. Michelle's second eldest and his friend were there alongside Demi, who was 15, Brandon, who was aged 8, Lacie, who was aged 7, and 2-year-old Lia Pearson. At 5 to 5 in the morning, 4 cowards by the name of Abigail Toone, who was the driver, Courtney Brierley, this slag, Zak Bolland, who was her boyfriend, Courtney's boyfriend, David Worrall, they'd been drinking and stuff like that, and Abigail Toone took them to get cocaine, took them to buy alcohol, took them to buy petrol that he was going to use in an arson attack on a sleeping family. Right. Now, the circumstances leading up to it, it was alleged in court that Michelle's 2 eldest, an 18-year-old and a 17-year-old, had been having problems with this Zak Bolland and David Worrall. And there was conflicting stories about a backwards and forth, blah, blah, blah. It was, for me, David Worrall and Zak Bolland were just bullying, threatening. They was kicking the door through while Michelle was holding her 2-year-old daughter, Lia, threatening her, saying, "Put the baby down, we're going to chop you with machetes." They kicked the door. They was trying to put the door through. They put the windows through. The fire brigade went and said, if there's a fire and they're going to petrol bomb your house, like put the kids in the bathroom and just like flood the bathroom and stuff like that. Like that's the safest room in the house, apparently. Like I say, after a night of taking cocaine and drinking, they drove to a petrol station. They get petrol. They go back, they fill a Budweiser bottle with petrol and stuff the neck of the bottle with toilet roll. They use a big wine bottle, fill it with petrol, stuff it with toilet roll. They then drive to a street at the back of the house. Abigail Toone and this slag Courtney Brierley stayed in the vehicle. Zak Bolland and David Worrall walked to the back of the house, lifted the fence panel up, bricked the window. The first bottle that was thrown through was a petrol bomb. It was a Budweiser bottle. It started a fire, obviously, in the kitchen. The second, that was thrown by David Worrall. The second one, the much larger wine bottle stuffed with petrol, with a tissue in the end, a Molotov cocktail, was thrown with such force from the outside through the kitchen window. It went through. There wasn't like a kitchen door. It was like an alcove, like an archway. Went through there, through the hall, and landed at the bottom of the stairs. The family's only escape route. Now, previous to this, certain windows on the house had been boarded up at the front because they turned up and like smashed the windows. These bullies that were terrorising this family, bullying. The fire took hold fast, extremely fast, and just there's footage online of the actual fire that took place and stuff, and I'm not going to post it out of respect for the family. Michelle's second eldest, Kyle, and his friend Bobby managed to get out of the property. Demi, Brandon, Lacie, Lia, and Michelle were trapped in this inferno. Michelle was asleep. She woke up. She ran to get little Lia to put her in the bathroom like she'd been told by the fire service. On the way, I think she collapsed shortly thereafter. Brandon and Lacie, who were 8 and 7 and were inseparable, were found huddled up very nearby. Lia was obviously, they was all unconscious and stuff like that. Demi was at the window. It was like the room was full of black smoke. She was at the front of the bedroom window. Her brother, who was the second eldest, was outside. There was neighbours out and stuff, frantically trying to get in. But because of the lead up to the events and stuff, Michelle had actually barricaded the back of the front door, so people couldn't get in. Demi was upstairs with a phone and stuff, trying to like show a light so people could see she was there, and then they saw her fall away from the window as she collapsed. Demi, 15, died. Brandon, age 8, died. 7-year-old Lacie died. Little Lia clung on to life, but then sadly and tragically died in hospital. Mother Michelle somehow miraculously survived with 70-degree plus burns to her body. She's still in hospital to this day, and it was reported in court that if she got another virus or another infection, it could well kill her. Out of the 4 people that did it, Abigail Toone, Courtney Brierley, Zak Bolland, and David Worrall. Abigail Toone, because she's got family in Greater Manchester Police or Cheshire Police, she ended up becoming a witness against them. Not because she was innocent, guys. Not because she'd been coerced into driving the vehicle. Because she was fucking guilty. But simply because she knew she was going to rot away in prison. So she turned grass. Right? She become a prosecution witness. In doing so, she walked free from all the charges. No charges were ever filed against her. Zak Bolland, Courtney Brierley, David Worrall. All went into interview. All declined to comment. Silent, no comment interviews. They went forward for trial. At this time, the children couldn't be buried because there was the chance of a second autopsy and stuff. The trial ended up taking place, I think it was in July of that year, 2018. June or July 2018, they was convicted. They all ran trial. Zak Bolland was sentenced to a minimum of 40-year tariff, which means he'll serve 40 years before he's eligible for parole. Not long enough. David Worrall got 37.5 years minimum tariff before he's eligible for parole. This slag, Courtney Brierley, cried in the dark and stuff, and I'm a victim, and I was scared of Zak, and I didn't know what he was going to do, all this stuff. Amazingly, the jury bought her tears. She wasn't found guilty of murder. She was found guilty of manslaughter. If you take intent away from murder, you're left with manslaughter. She was sentenced for 4 manslaughters. How long do you think she got, guys? She got 21 years. Not as a minimum tariff, just 21 years, which means that at 10.5 years, she'll be eligible for parole. She was on remand at Style Prison, where she was living off eggs, boiled eggs, because she was scared that people corrupt her food. She was scared shitless. There was always a prison officer nearby. She was broken as a person. Fucking good. Right? There was people that we knew, right? For some reason, women are softer in prison and didn't attack her. There's not protection in prison. They've got the segregation unit, but they do not have vulnerable prisoners' wings, right? She wasn't attacked somehow. I don't know how. She wasn't. She was then sent to Bronzefield Prison. I've had tabs on her. If you know, you know. We know people in Bronzefield. Again, she wasn't attacked. She was then became involved in a lesbian relationship with a mother of 2 who was still, her fella was still coming up on visits from what I was told. She's now in HMP Send in Woking. I know her mother watches my channel as well because she subscribed to me. That's how close I am. That's how close I am behind Courtney Brierley. I'm there. I know where Zak Worrall is, and I know where Zak Bolland is, and I know where David Worrall is. I got the story out where Worrall had been in a fight in prison. I got this story out. For those that don't know and might think, well, why am I taking such a vested interest? I do not know. I didn't know before this, the family, the Pearson Lever family, didn't know them. However, it transpired, I started to get involved on Facebook and stuff, right? And I did some videos, right? And there was public videos, and it was about them lot, about these lot, and about the case and how disgusted I was. And I don't normally do Facebook videos, but I did them on Facebook. And people were hitting me up and stuff saying, listen, we're doing some fundraising, you should get involved. We're going to do a family day for the family to raise funds to give these children, who we call the Walkden Angels or the Four Little Angels, the most amazing send-off, right? I've never done anything for charity. I don't have children myself. But I was like, you know what? I'm up for it. So I got a taxi up to Walkden to the Vulcan pub. There was about, I'd say, 12 of us at this table. Members of the family turned up. So Mike, who was the head of the family, Michelle's sister, Sarah, Michelle's sister, Claire, and brother Chris was there. They give us their blessing for us to raise funds for the family. It was very grateful. And just you guys focus on Michelle. We'll do what we're doing and we'll keep you guys informed. And he was okay with that. So that was it. So there was certain people who were good at arranging things. We was getting prizes and stuff for the raffle. There's going to be a charity football match. There was going to be donations. There was going to be charity raffle, like auction and stuff. I have got the gift of the gab, right? I've always had this. So I got about 18, 19 of the 50 prizes that we got for the raffle, right? Anyway, it was amazing. Like, we was all clubbing together. The people of Salford all came out. We did that thing for the family. The family then, after the family day, I obviously became like quite friendly with certain members of the family. And it also transpired as well that at the second fundraising meeting, that I'd actually, because I said, who's the dad? He's supposed to be in prison. And he was like, oh, it's Chris. They said he's called Stoff. And then they told me his name, and I was like, I was in prison with a kid called by the last name. And he said, and then on the family day of the fundraising, I went up to his brother, and his cousin showed me a picture of him, and my heart sank. It was even like, I was doing these things for strangers and stuff, but then it transpires that I've been in prison with the father of 4 of Michelle's children on 2 occasions, and I got on extremely well with him. In fact, the first time I landed in Strangeways, he was telling me what was what and stuff, right? So that was just like, wow. And then after the family day, and we raised the money and stuff, and other people were doing fundraising and stuff, and we raised a massive amount. We only raised about £12,000, £13,000. Other people raised like GoFundMes and stuff, and people raised a lot of money. Anyway, the family then asked me to provide security at the funeral. Now, I was going to get like a little army and stuff and everything, but I thought it's better to have people on speed dial and then just turn up with a couple of us, because we were told that there's going to be undercover police and stuff. Now, I'm not asked about the police, fuck them. But I was like, it was about, so they said, look, will you walk with a procession? Will you do security on the church? Will you do security on the wake? So then I rang Frenchy, a friend of mine, reformed gangster Stephen French, formerly known as the Devil, and said, look, Frenchy, I'm going to be doing security at this funeral. I know you're normally obviously like in charge for anything else, but I know it was straight away. He was like, let me stop you there. Like, look, you're a friend of mine. If it means a lot to you, then we'll do it. So Frenchy came up from London at his own price, first class on the train. I got a taxi, picked French up at the station. We went up to Jackson Street, where the procession was starting from where the house fire was. Now, some people didn't get that, but Michelle, who's the mother, she was still in hospital. She couldn't attend the funeral because of her ill health. She said the children were born in that house. They died in that house. They should go on the final journey from that house. So we was being told that the scumbags that did this, their families were going to try and spoil the funeral and the procession. So me and Frenchie stuck. We was close by with the family. We walked right amongst the family at the front, behind the horse-drawn carriages. I'll put 2 tribute videos in the description below that are on my channel, that are a video tribute that I put together of the funeral. If you're an emotional person, you'll probably cry. It was heartbreaking, it really was. So we walked with the procession to all the way down to the church. We took over everybody, got to the church door, making sure that friends and family got in first. We had wristbands and stuff and ribbons. So, right, got everybody in, and then we filled the rest of the church up with just well-wishers and stuff. There's about 1,000 people trying to get into the church. Me and Frenchie then locked the doors, took our place inside, watched the service, which was just, I'd never been to a funeral before, it just broke me heart. That finished. We went on to the wake and we did security at the wake. That was it. I'm going to read this story now because Courtney Brierley, today, Thursday, she's having her appeal at the Court of Appeal. She's trying to get out of prison. So I'm going to read the story, guys, because we're 15 minutes in. Woman, 21, who killed 4 children in Walkden house fire to appeal conviction. She's now, I think she's 22 or coming up to 23. Demi Pearson, 15, and her siblings Brandon, aged 8, Lacie, aged 7, and 3-year-old Lia were all killed. Lia was actually 2. Their mother, Michelle, 36, was rescued but was seriously hurt. A woman jailed for helping arsonists torch a family home, killing 4 children, is set to appeal against her conviction next week. Courtney Brierley, 21, was jailed for manslaughter last year for helping 2 men, her then boyfriend Zak Bolland and his accomplice David Worrall, carry out the 5 a.m. petrol bomb attack on a family home in Walkden. Demi Pearson, 15, and her siblings Brandon, 8, Lacie, 7, and 3-year-old Lia were all killed. Their mother Michelle was seriously hurt. The attack was a devastating climax to a feud involving Bolland and Kyle Pearson, Michelle Pearson's eldest son. That's not correct. It's Michelle's second eldest, Kyle, who escaped the blaze. Bolland and his partner in crime, David Worrall, are both serving life for murder and must serve a minimum 40 and 37 years behind bars, respectively. Following a trial at Manchester Crown Court, the jury found Courtney Brierley not guilty of murder, but convicted her on 4 counts of manslaughter. She was sentenced to 21 years in a young offenders institution and can apply for parole halfway through her sentence. Brierley said to be a broken woman behind bars and has lodged appeals against both her sentence and her conviction. She helped Zak Bolland and David Worrall carry out the attack on December the 11th, 2017. Urging them to put their hoods up as they purchased the petrol used in the firebombing, and then going with them in the car that took them and the petrol bombs to Jackson Street in Walkden. Brierley claimed she acted because she was in fear of her violent and abusive boyfriend Bolland and had not realised exactly what he was about to do. Her legal team tried and failed to get the case against her thrown out mid-trial, an acquittal with no case to answer, arguing she'd done little more than the prosecution's main witness, Abigail Toone, who had unwittingly, she's not fucking unwittingly at all. She says here, unwittingly acted as the trio's getaway driver. No, she did not. The Court of Appeal at the Crown Courts of Justice in London has confirmed that her appeal is listed for June the 27th because I fucking told them. It is understood Brierley is serving her sentence at HMP Bronzefield. No, she's not. I told John this. She's in HMP Ford, which houses some of the nation's most dangerous female prisoners, including Johanna Dennehy, who stabbed 3 men to death in 2013. Last year, one prisoner, after their release, told the MEN, Courtney was very, very broken and quiet. I didn't know what she'd done until after I'd left. I was horrified. You just wouldn't have thought that of her. She described how Brierley was housed in a block with lifers. Courtney came straight in on remand and was put in a single cell, which she rarely left. She was employed as a cleaner, but was always being chased by senior prison officers to come and do her work, the woman said. She added she always looked like she'd been crying. She was very, very quiet and didn't make friends with anyone and rarely ate. She was completely broken and received a lot of one-on-one time in her cell from prison officers. She returned to the prison to begin her sentence following a period on remand there. Brierley was in a really bad way. Bolland of Blackleach Drive, Worsley, was jailed for a minimum of 40 years after he was convicted of murder at the conclusion of that trial, which he heard he threw a large petrol bomb into the house through the rear window as the family slept. His friend Worrall, 27, of Worsley Avenue, had thrown a smaller petrol bomb into the house, but it had not caused significant damage. He was caged for a minimum of 37 years after being convicted of murdering the children. She's up today at the Royal Court of Appeal. This woman will never be allowed. For me, the appeal is absolutely fruitless. She's safer in prison than she's on the streets, and that's no threat from me. But the people in Salford are up in arms about this. Child murder ×4. Things you don't want to be in prison. Child murderer, paedophile, rapist, or a grass. She's a child murderer. And if she was a bloke, she'd be living in protection in prison like the other 2 scumbags. Right, I know where both of them, I know where Zak Bolland is and David Worrall is, right? I've got people waiting in certain prisons to meet these people's accomplice, to meet these people, and will put themselves on protection in order to do so. I know where Courtney Brierley is, I know where Worrall is, and I know where Bolland is. Scumbags, child murdering fucking scumbags. My heart goes out to obviously Lia Pearson. She's still in a bad position. 70-degree burns, guys. It's just absolutely horrific. Let me know what you think in the comments in the comment section below, guys. Gonna leave it there. Let me know what you think. Like, comment, subscribe. Cody out.